Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into a massive story from the world of finance, the absolutely incredible, record-breaking surge of silver. Look, it's been a huge year for precious metals across the board. Gold's 54% rally is nothing to sneeze at, for sure. But silver? Silver has completely stolen the show, soaring an unbelievable 71%. In fact, in mid-October, prices hit a jaw-dropping all-time high of $54.47 per troy ounce. That's just the standard unit we use to weigh these metals. And a peak like that has everyone asking one huge question. So what is going on here? Why is silver, famously nicknamed the devil's metal because it's so volatile, suddenly on this historic tear? You know, a price spike like this is super rare. It's really only happened twice before in the last 50 years. Back in 1980, you had the Hunt brothers trying to corner the market, and then in 2011, a debt crisis sent investors looking for a safe place to put their money. But here's the thing. Analysts are saying that this time, in 2025, it's a whole different ballgame. To really get why, we first have to look at the demand side of the equation. And it's really a tale of two very powerful and very different stories happening all at once. See, on one hand, you've got the classic, timeless demand for silver, as an investment, for jewelry, its cultural importance. But on the other hand, you have this absolutely explosive, almost bottomless demand from all the new technology that's building our future. So let's start with that traditional side. And to do that, you just have to talk about India. They are the undisputed kings here. They're the world's biggest consumer, using thousands of tons every year. For a lot of people, especially farmers in rural areas, silver isn't just for decoration. It's basically their bank account. It's how they store wealth. And this demand is so deeply ingrained in the culture, it just spikes every year after the harvest and during big festivals like Diwali. But here's the real game changer, this massive new wave of industrial demand. Silver is an absolutely critical ingredient in electric vehicles, in the hardware for artificial intelligence, and in every solar panel. And the reason is simple. It has the highest electrical conductivity of any metal on the entire planet, period. Okay, so demand is through the roof, firing on all cylinders, right? But that's only half the story. Now we have to flip over to the supply side, and this is where things get really dramatic. So here is the kicker. Just when the world is screaming for more silver than ever before, we are actually digging less of it out of the ground. Global mine production has actually been going down for the last decade. And this chart, it just shows the problem perfectly. Take a look at the amount of silver held in London's vaults. That's a major global hub for this stuff. In just a couple of years, the physical stockpiles have absolutely cratered. They're down by a third. The vaults are literally being drained. The situation got so tight that, according to Rona O'Connell at StoneX, it got to a point where there was basically no physical silver left to buy in London. It was gone. This created a massive, massive squeeze in the market. Can you imagine? Traders who needed to get their hands on physical silver were forced to pay a mind-boggling 200% annualized interest rate just to borrow it overnight. That's how desperate things got. The panic was totally real. As Paul Sims over at Invesco pointed out, companies got so desperate to meet their orders that they started flying silver around the world on airplanes because they couldn't even wait for a cargo ship. So when you put these two huge forces together, that surging demand and the collapsing supply, you get the full picture. Suddenly, the 2025 rally makes perfect sense. It was a true perfect storm. You had the skyrocketing industrial demand from tech and green energy, plus that really strong traditional buying, and it all just smashed head-on into a supply chain that was already shrinking, with mines producing less and vaults emptying out. Okay, so what's next? Where do we go from here? Well, if you look at what's driving all this, the industrial demand side of the story isn't slowing down. If anything, it's only set to accelerate. Just take electric vehicles, for example. A standard EV today uses somewhere between 25 and 50 grams of silver. But, and this is a big but, if the industry shifts to next-generation solid-state batteries, that number could jump to 1,000 grams, a full kilogram of silver in a single car. We're talking about a potential 20-fold increase or even more. And that's really the key here. As Paul Sims puts it, silver is in this really unique position. It bridges that gap between being a precious metal that holds value and being an industrial metal that we absolutely have to have for our electrified future. And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. With its absolutely essential role in the technology of tomorrow, Is silver transforming from just the devil's metal into the most important precious metal of all? Is silver the new gold?